This is probably one of the greatest obstacles for people that I work with, at least especially in the entrepreneurial space, which is it's like so vague. They don't have clarity, right? And so it's, hey, what do you want to do? I want to help people. Okay, well, write the vision, make it plain so that they can read it, can run with it.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't run with that. You can't move with that, right? That vision isn't made plain enough for you to comprehend it in a way that you can actually take action on it. Mm-hmm. So you got to get so clear that you know what action you need to take. So write it, make it plain so that they that read it can run with it. It's like, yo, I want to help women. Well, okay, well, what kind of women? You want to help divorced women? You want to help single women? You want to help older women? You want to help younger women? You want to help women get whole emotionally? You want to get women get whole financially? You want to help single moms? You want to help stay-at-home moms? And so it's like, I think a lot of times people skip that step, and that step is everything, man, because clarity gives you speed. Okay. I'm gonna say that again. Yeah. Clarity gives you speed. You can tell if you're driving behind somebody, they don't know where they're going. You can tell. They like stopping, going. But when you clear, you can accelerate, man. And so many people skip that step. They don't drill down and get clear enough, and which is like, okay, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I'm gonna make sure they get this. So let's say, for an example, I'm gonna use me for an example, because some people disagree with my clarity, right? So I say that I want to help people, one, get out of debt. But when I say I'm going deeper, like you said, when I say people, I love all people, but I'm being honest, I really want to focus on millennials and minorities. And some people say, well, Anthony, the minority is only, 33% of the world. Why are you only focusing on this small group? Aren't you missing out on a whole lot of money, a whole lot of people, because you're only focusing on minorities? What about the other white people who need your help? But I'm like, yo, but wait a minute. It's like, I'm not saying I'm not for everyone. I'm just saying when I generate my content, I'm thinking about minorities. So what I hear you saying is niche down your niche. But people are hearing, like, well, that's so small. What about all of these other people? I know they're probably thinking, Pastor Darius, what about all the people I'm missing out on? I can't get money from them? Is that what you're saying? Or are you just simply saying, just identify where you're going. Everyone can experience you, but you're clear on who you're making content for. You're clear on who you're serving, and it will allow you to move faster.
Yeah, this is what I want to say. I want to say unapologetically, I'm saying niche down. Now, and I want people to understand, I am talking from the perspective of a purpose-driven entrepreneur.
Come on.
So, and that doesn't mean that doesn't mean we aren't profitable. I think purpose-driven entrepreneurs are very profitable. Mm-hmm. But it does mean we believe we can find profit in being purposeful. Mm. Yeah, it means that we don't prostitute our purpose for profit. Mm-hmm. It means that we understand something that maybe an average entrepreneur doesn't understand, and that is every need, not my responsibility. So you saying that, like, God's the only one who meets every need isn't your responsibility. So you're saying, hey, I feel a sense of call to millennials and minorities. You're not saying exclusively. You're not saying that's the only people I help. You're saying primarily. You're saying I'm very clear that my highest and best use, I am at my best when I am serving this group. And I will never apologize for being faithful to the group of people that God's assigned me to. You know how many needs there are in the world that I wish I could meet? But every need is not my responsibility, and it's narcissistic of me to assume I'm the only one that can meet those needs. The people that I don't reach are people somebody else has been assigned to reach. So, so I'm not saying, I don't want people to think, I don't want people to think that we're saying, hey, you serve only this group of people. I'm saying you can't be purpose-driven in life or in business if you don't know the difference between your primary and your secondary audience.
That is good.
Like I serve the hungry, bro. Some people get people motivated. It's like, man, if you don't want it, I'm not your guy. And there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with me. But it's like, if you don't want it yet, come to me when you want it, and then I'll show you how to get it. There are other people that help you want it. And so I don't apologize for that. I've been wired for that. I got unique design. I got unique dreams. I got unique discontent. I got unique destiny. And all of that is for the people group that I'm supposed to serve. And Anthony, here's the truth. I'm going to make the greatest impact with that group, and I'm going to make the greatest income with that group.
So we got the revelation.
More or less.
More with less.
Yeah.
More with less. So we got the revelation, which means get clear. Once you get clear, identify who do you want to serve, why you want to serve. Oftentimes I say, y'all, if your why doesn't make you cry, the price of commitment will make you cry. It came from this guy right here, Darius Daniels. And it's like, I think about that all the time. Why am I getting up every single day? Why do I serve these people? Why do I want them debt free? And when I think about that, it gets me emotional and it fuels me. So, okay, look, we got the number one, revelation. What's number two, man? This is. I hope y'all are taking notes because this is brilliant, and y'all have to get his book. But we're going to drop all of his information in today's show notes because all of this is in his book, and y'all have to be following him. I mean, if you're not following Darius Daniels, respectfully, you don't want to grow. I've grown so much with him being a friend and a brother and a mentor in my life. And we don't talk every day. We don't even talk every single week. But he'll call me. I'll call him. I'll ask him questions. And I just listen. And I've grown tremendously because of him and his amazing wife, my sister. So we're going to drop all the information below because I really want y'all to continue getting this information, get inside some of his courses, get his books. One of his courses just blew my mind. The guy has so much information, so we'll drop that below. But all right, we got the revelation part. Once we identify the revelation, what's next, Darius?
Yeah. So the next is interpretation. So it's one thing to know what do I want to do, or basically like who do I help and what results do I help them get? Clarity. All right. But then, so that part's key. And man, I wish there's so much we could talk about even with the clarity part because your emotional intelligence and self-esteem and all of that plays into your ability to get clear, right? Like you got to know what walk in the room when you walk in there. You have to know that. You have to know what problems you've been created to solve. But so it's one thing to be clear on that. Who do I help and what results do I help them get? Revelation. Second is interpretation. And that's this. What's the way I do it though? Like, yeah, what's the way I do it? Based on the way I've been wired, based on what my gifts are. Like, so there are people who teach people like myself. I teach people orally. I mean, I use written material, right? But I'm more than an author. But there are authors who don't really speak. And there are authors who can't really speak that well. Yeah. So we both can say we're in the self-education business. Right. But the way I do it, through coaching and courses and mastermind groups and things like that might be completely different than the way someone else does it. They might write books. They might write blogs. So that next step is being okay with interpreting, okay, now based on the way I'm wired, what's the best way to do it? Because if not, we get caught up in this culture of conformity and we end up conforming to methods that are not best for you because when you want something to work, you start doing what you think is working for other people as opposed to really believing your way works if you work it. And so that's kind of what I mean there with interpretation. There are people like you who are helping people with debt and getting free financially, but they're not doing it the way that you're doing it.
No. And you know what? It's like people will be watching. It's like, well, man, I feel convicted because I started doing what I saw them doing, but what they were doing is not working for me.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, man. Sometimes, especially even out on my own, I'll look at other people who are in the money space. I'm like, yo, this is working for them, but it won't work for me. So don't even go over there, Anthony. Actually, as a matter of fact, unfollow them. Don't even see it anymore because you know your lane. But it takes maturity for me to understand it works for them, but it will not work for me. And it's like, in your space, because you're teaching this within your book, you're teaching this within your courses and curriculums and your masterminds, right? How do you teach people to be okay with their method? Because they may see somebody else with a different method in the same space and making a lot of money, but their method is not making them any money right now because they may be new to it. So how do we encourage people to stay in their lane, stay within their interpretation, and to pursue their route, their way of doing things without giving up because they see something else working?
Yeah, I think one of the things, this is just probably a point of clarification, and that is, I mean, I think both of us do this. Of course, there are going to be times where you need to evaluate and make adjustments, like with your methodology. What I am saying is, and there are going to be times where, like, one of the ways we learn is through observation. We see what's happening in other people, and it's okay to see an example of something that's happening in another person, and if there's a part of your authentic self that resonates with that, it's okay to take that aspect of that person's methods or approach and apply it to you, because all of our methods are going to be like a combination of stuff that we've learned ourselves and stuff that we've learned from other people. But taking something you resonate with from someone and applying it to your methodology is completely different than adopting their methodology. Now, I'm not going to get specific with this, like, but I know, like, let's say if a person's a part of, like, of a speaker training, right? Let's say someone's a part of a speaker, they're part of a group, and it's like, it's one thing for them to learn the practices of the mentor. It's another thing when they try to take on the personality of the mentor. It's like, yo, that's not even your personality, but it's like, but you feel like, and it's like, and for you, of course it works for him, because that's authentically him, or that's authentically her. So it works for them. But it's like you coming in with all this like aggression or whatever, and it's like, that doesn't work for you, because it's not, it's not authentic to who you are. And so I think what people need to do is like, yo, tweak your method and master your method, because maybe your method's not working because you haven't mastered it. Now, yo, this is a part I deal with all the time, because whenever somebody's stuck, this is game for the table, Ayo. This is game for the table. Whenever somebody's stuck, especially entrepreneurially, it's one of three areas, or many of these three areas. It's either going to be a character issue. And when I say character, I'm not talking about ethics. I'm not talking about good, bad person. I'm talking about certain character traits that either they don't have or they need to have more of in order to get the result they're trying to get. So a character trait is something like focus. It's like, well, I'm focused, but are you as focused as you need to be to get the result you're trying to get? Because people who get those kind of results have a different level of focus. Are you resilient? Like, do you quit every time something doesn't work? Or so it's character traits. So sometimes people don't have something and they need to get it. Sometimes they have it and they need to scale that trait. The other thing is this, it's competence. And that's a skill. And I'm gonna tell you this, a lot of people are not where they think they should be because they are not as good as they think they are. Now that's not hating, that's not shade, that's not condescending, that's love, brother. Like, that's love. We see it all the time. It's like, yo, people doing courses and it's like, oh my God, my course didn't move. It's like, fam, I watched it. We gotta work on that speaking. We gotta work on that energy. We gotta work on that engagement. And so, you know, anyway, so it's that, and then the other is like confidence, and that's a mindset, because that determines how you show up and how you do a thing. So, man, if people are stuck, it's primarily gonna be in one of those areas, and we kind of. If you master that, you don't always have to change your method. That's my point. Look at your character, look at your competence, look at your confidence. And if you tweak those things, your method might not be the issue.